Hi, it's Alex from Android Central, and this is HTC One. So we're here in London with the all-new, all-official HTC One handset, formerly known by its codename of M7. This is HTC's flagship Android device of 2013, and they've really gone all out with the hardware and software on this phone. Starting with design, HTC's back making metal phones, and we couldn't be happier. The HTC One is crafted from a single piece of aluminium, punctuated by a trim around the side and back for the antenna. The chassis itself is a similar shape to the Droid DNA, with flat sides, rounded corners, and a curved back. And the combination of this chassis design and the metal construction means that HTC One feels really great in the hand. We've been really impressed by the build quality that HTC's brought to this handset. There's not too much going on around the back of the device. You've got your Beats Audio logo, and of course the Beats software tweaks return once again. There's also HTC's Ultra Pixel camera, which we'll get to in more detail later on. The phone's pretty normal in terms of its button placement, although the power button is hiding a rather interesting function. As well as turning the phone on and off, it also doubles as an IR blaster, which works with the built-in TV app. Again, we'll have more on that in a few minutes. Let's head around the front and take a look at the business end of the phone. It's got a 4.7-inch Super LCD 3 screen at 1080p resolution, which makes for a whopping 468 pixels per inch, so exceptionally sharp. Above and below the screen are dual front-facing speakers, which HTC says have larger speaker chambers and improved membranes, and boom sound is HTC's fun little buzzword for this combination of features. It's also worth noting that because of the dual front speakers, there's actually no speaker around the back. Now, you might have noticed something missing from the front of this thing. Unlike HTC's 2012 handsets, there's no task switching key on the new HTC One. In fact, there's just back, home, and a central HTC logo. That might be a deal breaker for some people, but at least it's easy enough to get the task switcher by double tapping the home key. Moving on to internals for a second, the HTC One is powered by a quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU. That's the new chip that was announced at CES, backed up by 2GB of RAM. Built-in storage comes in 32 and 64GB helpings, although there's no expandable storage option. The battery isn't removable either, although it is fairly large at 2300 mAh. So onto software, and there's an awful lot here to set the HTC One apart from previous devices. It's running Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean and HTC's new Sense 5 UI. Sense 5 goes back to the drawing board with a lot of the visual parts of Sense, especially the home screen launcher. The meat of this new home screen experience is centered around what HTC calls Blinkfeed. And this is a vertically scrolling Flipboard style grid of social updates, news feeds, calendar appointments, and anything else that might be going on in your world. That includes a redesigned weather widget up top, and of course you've got the usual app shortcuts down below. The app drawer has also been overhauled. You can create folders directly in the app drawer and rearrange stuff in other ways. There's a built-in search function too, and you can change the style of the grid to suit your own preferences. So the new home screen dynamic seems focused on hopping between the blink feed and the app drawer, although you can still get a more traditional home screen view if you want. Just swipe to the left and get a standard icon and widget setup, which you can customize in the usual way, and there's even an old Sense 4 style flip clock if you've been missing that. Other apps have been tweaked too, including the music player, which has been updated with visualizer effects and lyric support through Grace Note. And if you've missed those full screen weather effects, then they're still to be found within the weather app. Another major selling point for the HTC One is the rear camera, which HTC is calling an Ultra Pixel camera. What this means is much larger pixels on the sensor itself, so they're able to capture more light, which in turn leads to better low light performance, more accurate colours, and generally better looking images. Shots are outputted a little over 4 megapixels, so you lose out in sheer resolution, but the idea is this is made up for by the improvement in image quality. The other side of the HTC One photo equation is what HTC calls Zoes, a term that comes from the word zoetrope. Zoes are a new way of taking pictures designed to make it easier to capture the exact image that you want. So when you're shooting a Zoe photo, the camera records 5 shots before you press the shutter button, 15 afterwards, and 3 seconds of video as well. So you're then able to cherry pick the best looking image. Another advantage of shooting images this way is that the gallery app comes alive with animations, and the phone can automatically compile highlight reels for vacations and other trips. So that's the HTC One camera in a nutshell. We'll have much more on the phone's camera features in the days ahead. We've already mentioned the HTC One's IR blaster, and this ties in with the TV app, a new HTC application that aims to improve your dual screen viewing experience. HTC's worked with major manufacturers and operators to make sure the app works as a universal remote with a TV guide. In the UK, there's support for Freeview, Freesat, Sky and Virgin, and localized channels can be set based on your postcode. So that's going to wrap up our first look at the HTC One. As you can see, there's a lot going on with this handset, and you'll definitely want to check out the rest of our in-depth coverage on Android Central right now, and keep watching in the days ahead for even more on one of the first big Android launches of the year.